What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Memento deck profile. So I'm really excited to do some for you guys because this deck is an extremely fun deck to play that's one of the most powerful decks to play in this format. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're playing 3 copies of ANNIHIATION. ANNIHIATION is definitely a 3-of in the build because this card is actually the Stratos of the deck. As if this card is normally a special summon, you can actually add a Memento monster from your deck to your hand. Except another copy of this card, but this card also has a really cool ability that you can target a level 2 or lower Memento monster in the graveyard, destroy a Memento monster that you control, and if you do, special summon the targeted monster, which is a great effect to help you get the exact monster you want on your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Darkblade. Darkblade is a great starter for the deck as well, as this card actually helps you get to your copy of ANNIHIATION with the ability that during your main phase, you can actually destroy a Memento monster you control. If you do, special summon a level 3 or lower Memento monster from the deck, which can be your copy of ANNIHIATION, which is awesome, and this card can actually use its ability to destroy itself to bring out your copy of ANNIHIATION, which is awesome. This card also has a great ability to help you pop spells and traps, which is a really cool effect. We then play 3 copies of Yugioh. Yugioh is great as a 3-of in the build because this card is a massive foolish burial, which is incredible while also being a really good extender. With the ability that if you do not control any face-up monsters other than Memento monsters, you can special summon this card from your hand. Also, during your main phase, you can actually destroy a Memento monster that you control and then send any number of Memento monsters with the different names from your deck to the graveyard, whose total levels are less than or equal to the destroyed monster's original level, which is actually going to be your copy of Yugioh that you're always destroying by its own effect to get you a massive foolish burial. We then play 2 copies of Goblin. Goblin is great as a 2-of in the build because we can actually summon this card off of our copy of Goblin Biker Grand Breakout because this card is actually a Goblin monster. And this card also has a really cool ability that during your main phase, you can actually destroy a Memento monster you control, and if you do, send up to 2 Memento cards with different names from each other from your deck to the graveyard, which is a great effect to help you get the exact card you need in the grave. We then play a single copy of Mace. Mace is a great combo piece in the deck, as this card has an awesome ability that during your main phase, you can actually destroy a Memento monster that you control, and if you do, add a Memento card from your deck to your hand. But this card is also a hand trap because during your opponent's main phase, if you control Combined Creation or Big Boss Monster, quick effects, you can discard this card and then target a face-up monster opponent controls and take control of it until the end phase, making it an awesome disruption. We then play a single copy of Garrigus. Garrigus is great as a 1-of in the build and helps out a lot in this deck to be able to use your copy of Yugioh. As this card has the ability that if this card is sent to the graveyard by the effect of a Memento monster, you can special summon this card, and if it's normally special summon, you can turn a Memento card in the graveyard and add it back to your hand, helping you recover a card out of the graveyard. We then play a single copy of Sheeply. Sheeply is great because this card is basically a walking polymerization, helping us go into our Memento fusion monsters, which is incredible. We then play a single copy of ANNIHIATION. ANNIHIATION is really good as a 1-of in the build, and this card helps us OTK our opponent, and also is just a really awesome card, because if this card is normally special summon, you can activate this effect that this turn, level 9 or higher Memento monsters can attack directly, making it really easy to OTK our opponent. Also having the ability that if this card is destroyed by a card effect, you can actually target one of your other Memento cards that is banished or in your graveyard and add it to your hand. Also, if a Memento monster in your hand or face on the field is destroyed by a battle by card effect, while this card's in the grave, you can special summon this card back to your side of the field, which is a really powerful effect. We then play a single copy of Horned Dragon. Horned Dragon is one of my favorite cards in the entire deck because it's based on the Tri-Horned Dragon. And definitely comment down below what monster you would actually like to see turned into a Memento monster. But this card is awesome as an extender and kind of sort of a boss monster for the deck, as if you have 3 or more Memento monsters with different names in the graveyard, you can special summon this card from your hand. And then this card on the field is destroyed by a card effect, you can target 3 face-up cards on the field, including a Memento card that you control, and destroy them, giving you a triple pop, which is incredible. We then play a single copy of Combined Creation. Combined Creation is our big boss monster of the deck, because it comes out at 5,000 attack and 5,000 defense, and it's ridiculously easy to summon. With the ability, it must be special summoned from your hand or your graveyard by shuffling 5 other Memento monsters with different names from your hand or the graveyard into the deck or the extra deck, meaning it's super easy to summon because all you have to do is recycle your resources to summon this card out. Also, while you control no other monsters, and this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls, and once each. And also, once per turn, if your opponent activates a card or effect, you can special summon a Memento monster from your hand or the graveyard, helping get additional monsters out on your side of the field. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom is definitely a 3-of in the build to basically just stop your opponent from touching the deck. We then play 3 copies of Drolan Lockbird. Drolan Lockbird is really powerful this format, and a great card to be able to play in the deck to basically just stop your opponent from touching the deck for the rest of the turn. We then play 3 copies of Fluros. Fluros is great in this build to help you dig into the deck for the exact cards that you need. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of 1 for 1. 1 for 1 is great in this build to help us basically summon out the exact monster we need while also getting Memento monsters in our graveyard. And play a single copy of the Memento Field Spell. Memento Field Spell is awesome in this deck. This card is actually searchable off Creation King. And this card is a really powerful effect that if your Memento monster battles, your opponent cannot activate spell trap cards until the end of the damage step. And if a monster that you control is destroyed by a battle or a card effect, you can actually target one of those monsters and special summon a Memento monster with a lower level from your hand or your graveyard. And also this card has an insane ability that once per turn during the end phase, you can actually target a Memento spell or trap card in your graveyard and set it, which works really well with their copy of Memento Fusion or Bone Party. We then play 3 copies of Memento Fusion. Memento Fusion is definitely a 3-of in the build because this card helps us go for so many cool plays because it's a quick play fusion spell with the ability that during the main phase, fusion summon a fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as a material, including a Memento monster. And if a monster in your possession was destroyed by a card effect this turn, you can also shuffle Memento monsters from your graveyard into the deck as material, which is a great effect to help you recycle your resources to go in for a fusion play. This card also has the ability during your main phase, you can actually banish this card from the graveyard, destroy a monster that you control, and if you do, add a Memento spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is a great effect to help you get to your copy of Bone Party. We then play 3 copies of Bone Party. Bone Party is definitely a 3-of in the build because this card is so powerful, letting you destroy a Memento monster in your hand or face them on the field to take a Memento monster from your deck with a different name and either add it to your hand or special summon it in defense position. Also, during your main phase, you can banish this card from the graveyard and then target a Memento monster you control, and if it attacks a defense position monster this turn, inflict battle damage to your opponent, inflict piercing damage to your opponent, which is a really cool effect to just give your copy of Combined Creation piercing damage, which is insane. We then play 3 copies of Goblin Biker Grand Breakout. This card is great to help you dodge hand traps because if your opponent, say, Valors you or imperms one of your monsters, you can use this card to dodge one of those targeting hand traps, which is really good by just tributing your monster and summoning out your copy of the Memento Goblin, which is great because it is a goblin monster, which is so cool. We then play 3 copies of Super Polymerization. Super Poly is just a really good board breaker in this deck and awesome to help you just break your opponent's board so we can go in for game, and it helps us actually summon out some really cool monsters. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start with 3 copies of Creation King. Creation King is an awesome card and one of our main combo pieces in this deck. And I really like to play 3 copies in this build because you're always going to be summoning one out to your side of the field and then using its effect to send one from your extra deck to the graveyard. As this card is a really cool ability that does require 3 Memento monsters to make this card, but your copy of Memento Fusion makes it really easy to summon. This card also has the ability you can banish this card from the graveyard to add the Memento field spell from your deck to your hand. This card also has the ability you cannot activate the following effects on this card in this same chain. And if this card is fusion summoned, you can actually send 3 Memento cards from your deck and your extract to the graveyard to quick effect to target an equal number of Memento monsters that you control and or cards your opponent controls and destroy them, which is a pretty cool ability to be able to use, but this card is incredible in the build and just such a powerful boss monster. We then play a single copy of Twin Dragon. Twin Dragon is a really cool combo piece in the deck, and this card just helps out so much in the build. As if this card is fusion summoned, you can actually destroy a Memento monster in your hand or face on the field. If you do, add up to 2 Memento monsters with different names from your deck to your hand, which usually you're just going to pop this card. As if this fusion summon card is destroyed, you can actually special summon a level 6 or lower Memento monster in the graveyard, which is a great effect to actually use its ability and then bring back a monster. We then play a single copy of Guardian Chimera. Guardian Chimera is definitely a one-of in the build because we have a quick play fusion spell that can easily make this card, helping us either get a draw 2 and a pop 1 or a pop 2 and a draw 1, which is incredible for this deck. And then a single copy of the Duke of Demise. Duke of Demise is really good in this deck. So this card is either a super poly target, or we can actually use this card to be able to fusion summon to really easily. But this card is awesome because it actually gives us an additional normal summon, which is really good for this deck. We then lay a single copy of Dracostapelia. Dracostapelia is a great super poly target and just really good to be able to play in this deck because it's actually a walking negate. We lay a single copy of Garua. Garua is a really good super poly target as well, alongside our copy of Mud Dragon. We then play a single copy of Abao Aku. Abao Aku is really good as an option in this deck to help us pop cards on the field, and just an awesome card overall in this deck. We lay a single copy of Access Code. Access Code is really good as a one in the build to help us go in for game, clean up boards, and also just pop multiple cards on the field. This card is really good as a boss monster and super easy to make in this deck. We lay a single copy of Selene. Selene is great to help us climb into our copy of Access Code really easily. We lay a single copy of the Dark Charmer. Dark Charmer is really good to help us go from Dark Charmer to our copy of Selene and then into Access Code really easily in this deck. And then a single copy of SP Little Knight. SP is great in this build just to be able to use as a double interruption. And then finally, we play a single copy of Haggard Lizardos. Haggard Lizardos is great as a one-of in the build, as this card has a great effect to actually banish a monster from face on the field or the graveyard with 2,000 or less attack, and then target a face-up monster on the field and make its attack become equal to the original attack of that monster banished to activate this effect until the end of the turn, which is great to be able to just reduce an opponent's monster's attack points down because it's a really cool ability to be able to use so we can go in for game. This card also has a really cool ability that if you banish a monster whose original type was reptile, you also get to draw a card, which is great to be able to use with Haggard Lizardos. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. This deck is super fun to be able to play because you can make such incredible boards with this deck. It's just so fun to be able to play because it's a very combo heavy deck, but it's just really fun to be able to play to make insane boards. And also it's based around old school cards, which is always cool. So that's gonna do this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell in there so you can become part of our notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.